Ooh. Point of no return, baby. I don't know if I should,
Everything all right, Henry?
Well,
yeah.
not so bad.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, yeah. And so, let me get the pinned thing out of there. Guess I need to talk to... Who am I talking to? I'll probably just need to go up here. Yeah.
Stop playing the fool and try to get it right at least once. Buonasera, signori.
Who you call senior? Hey, we young.
Pojebało cię?
Are you listening? I said, buonasera.
You told me to come back for sausages. So here I am.
Yes, yes, they wait for you.
I can hardly wait.
They won't wait. Here, you taste and you will be in heaven. My secret recipe, 6 kind of spice.
Thanks.
No problem. You enjoy. You want more? I make. But you must bring me meat. Game is best. But dog, alright too. Only tough and taste this week. Need a lot of salt.
So I can bring you almost anything and you can make sausages out of it?
From anybody. But don't bring me no old stuff or stinky stuff. That bad, bad, bad.
Wonder what the properties are compared. Like, if I give him, like, I don't know if I can give him, like, wolf meat. Especially wolf meat I've already either dried or smoked. See what the properties are when it comes to his sausages. Nourishment of 20, energy. Oh, and it adds energy. Damn. Okay. And I wonder if how long it keeps its freshness. But yeah, compared to like the wolf meat I have, which has never gone bad, I lose 3 energy. And I wonder if I can give him my dried wolf meat.
I've got some meat that would be good for sausages.
Hey? Show me.
No, I don't.
Well, you got it, or you don't got it.
Sorry. I thought I had more.
Okay, so it has to be untouched meat.
Sir Vaculin, you've had an exciting life. Tell me some stories.
Bien sûr. Your interest is gratifying and quite understandable.
Where does the name Brabant come from?
That is simple. My compatriots call me that because I am originally from Brabant province. And the name stuck. One day, I shall tell you about my place of birth, but I am sure you will long to hear about the conquest of Arezzo, yes? Or would you rather hear how I saved the King of France from certain death?
Arezzo sounds interesting.
And so it was. That is where I earned my knighthood from the great Enguerrand de Concy himself, the commander of our Naples campaign. Enguerrand arranged his forces for battle, and I was put in charge of one of the cavalry units. Out of nowhere, the enemy appeared on our unprotected flank, and Enguerrand set me to hold them back so our main force could regroup. But I saw a gap in the enemy's main phalanx. I sounded the charge and sped forwards.
Wasn't that rather risky?
Un chevalier français fears nothing.
I reckon King Sigismund would think otherwise after Constantinople.
That was completely different. Alors, I caught them by surprise. I hacked my way to their standard and broke through all the way to the enemy's reserves. My attack sowed confusions in the enemy's ranks that encouraged the overlords who raced to join me, scattering everything in their path. And that is how we won the famous victory at Arezzo. Seeing that the force that was supposed to protect them had been routed. The city then surrendered to us. No doubt you had no inkling at Maleshov what a knight you had the honor to meet. And of course, my feats on the field of battle do not end there.
I could... Yeah, I might as well.
A bold maneuver.
Quite right. Courage is my middle name. Just as Monsieur Chapon says, Audantes Fortuna Juva. That day I was the bravest of them all and won the day.
So, you disobeyed your commander and left your flank exposed. Your attack could have ended in a total fiasco. You were lucky the others came to your assistance, and your entire force didn't collapse.
I hear thee speaking, but you are still wet behind the ears. So, I can forgive you. In short, I saw an opportunity and took it. Moments like that can decide entire wars.
What did your commander have to say?
He made me a knight and sent me to the royal court to inform the sovereign of our triumph.
I reckon he wanted to get you out of his hair.
Do not talk no sense.
He seems to embellish a lot.
What other feats have you performed in battle?
Oh, many, mon ami.
And
For
he is
one
French.
battle does not make a warrior. It would take a week to recount them all, so I will just tell you about my second greatest feat. On the Italian field, we faced John Hawkwood, a ruthless Englishman and a fearsome warrior. Surrounded, we were at his mercy. Night fell, and we knew he would attack at dawn, and that would be it. But just then, Providence put an idea in my mind.
Did you set some kind of trap?
You could say so. Unobserved, I mounted my horse and set off to find help. And, La Dame Chance was exceedingly kind to me that day. As I rode away, by chance, I stepped it off of our horses. Thinking we were trying to break through, les Anglais went to head them off. But while the English were occupied with Myceli, our units managed to flee. I saved many men from certain death that night, and many lords from the disgrace of capture. Needless to say, I was generously rewarded for my valor.
That is indeed incredible. But you were just trying to flee, weren't you?
I wanted to bring reinforcements, but as I say, I merely follow Providence, and she guides my steps, from triumph to triumph, wherever I go. Stick close to me, Henri, and Providence will favor you too.
He's not liking me finding holes in this story.
How did you save the King of France?
With Providence as my guide, mon ami, I came to the court from the field of battle to bring news of our victory, because, and remember this, the bearer of good news is always rewarded and cherished. But the king was in a bad mood and did not wish to be disturbed. Maybe I thought the news of our victory will dispel his ill humor.
How could you tell him if he didn't want to be disturbed?
Ha! I climbed up to his balcony and into his chambers to surprise him with the joyful tidings. And lo and behold, the king was writhing and gasping on the floor, overcome by one of his fits. Wasting not a moment, I dashed over to him and unblocked his throat, thus saving his life. In return, the king bestowed on me the title of Échanson, or cupbearer, and other generous gifts. And I then spent a while in his service at court. Unfortunately, though, even the king's favor does not last forever, and minor mistakes can come to overshadow good deeds.
What happened at court that led to you being out of favor?
Well, perhaps I shall tell you some other time. Would you not rather hear about the glorious duel between Le Gris and Carouge?
Tell me what happened at court that caused you to lose favor.
Ah, a major setback and a gross injustice, mon ami. It is an unhappy memory, because it was the first time that La Dame Chance abandoned me.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. We can all learn from our failures. And I bet even your failures make for great stories.
Oui, that is certainly true. Very well, then. I suffered a combination of misfortunes all at once. But bad luck in business and on a hunt were the worst of all.
Luckery and Cargouche. Sounds like a pair of jesters.
En aucun cas. Jacques le Gris and Jean de Carouge. There's two great knights were in a legal dispute over an estate. But above all, when de Carouge was on a campaign, Le Gris fornicated with his wife. She claimed that he had raped her, while he said he had seduced him. And because everyone swore to their own truth on the Bible, the matter had to be settled by combat. First, they jousted. Then they fought on foot with sword and axe. Le Gris thought victory was in his grasp, but de Carouge suddenly pounced on him, wrested him to the ground, and beat him so terribly that he knocked off his helmet and cuirass. Even so, Le Gris refused to admit his guilt, and de Carouge drove a dagger through his neck. And if you promise not to tell, I will let you into a secret about that dagger.
Tell me the secret. I promise I'll keep it to myself.
Bien. As I say, de Carouge killed Le Gris with a dagger. And I found that dagger in the mud after the duel. A blessed blade, an instrument of divine justice. The dagger that ended the last trial by combat France ever witnessed. An item of great value. So, I had several copies made and sold them to rich French noblemen. That is how I first came into wealth. And I used the coin to buy the horse and armor I needed to set off in pursuit of glory in battle.
Ha! That was a good idea. I'd never have thought of that.
You still have a lot to learn, mon ami. But you're young, you have plenty of time. Just keep your mind and eyes open, like I did. It was one of the greatest things I ever saw, and I have seen a lot. Believe me. Half of France came to watch, including the king himself, who then banned trial by combat in France forever. I later told the story to anyone who was interested. One of my listeners, a certain Froissart, wrote my icon down and became famous. I could have written it myself, of course, but I am happy to help others find success.
You were in business?
Of course. I come from Brabant province, home to the greatest entrepreneur of all. My birthplace gave me an unrivaled nose for coin and the reputation of a financial expert. I was nicknamed the Seer of Louvain, and also the End of Midas. That is, until I persuaded an important nobleman to invest a large sum in maritime trade with Africa. All the ships he bought sank in a tempest. He had to sell off part of his estates to pay off his creditors. Of course, he wrongly blamed me for everything and turned many influential courtiers against me. But my advice was sound. He was simply punished by God for fornicating with every wench from the Pyrenees to Brittany, bragging about it and thus bringing shame on his gentle wife. I told him as much. But some people never admit their mistakes and prefer to blame others.
A sea voyage from France to Africa? You must have known that was a massive risk.
A risk, perhaps. But think of the fortune to be made. A man must think big if he wants to achieve greatness, no?
Big ideas often lead to big trouble. Storms, pirates, sea monsters, uncharted waters. It was a disaster waiting to happen, Baron. You should have tried the Baltic trade route.
You are right. That would have been safer. But that is under Hanseatic control and there is too much competition. Africa, mon ami, that is the land of opportunity. The Arabs sell to the Portuguese via Ceuta and they sell on to us. Just imagine sailing further and trading directly with African kings, cutting out all of those middlemen. Remember this, because one day I will be proven right.
What was the hunting incident?
We were out in the royal hunting grounds when I caught sight of a white stag. There had long been rumors about it, so imagine the prestige I would have gained by getting it. I set off after it, pierced its flank with arrows, and unleashed the hounds to finish it off. When I arrived, it turned out that my aunt had not killed a stag, but the horse of a lady, a court favorite of the queen's. I fell out of her favor, and all the doors became closed to me.
You were damned unlucky. But that could have happened to anyone, couldn't it?
Quite right. I'm glad you are sensible enough to agree with me. A misfortune like that, which could indeed happen to anyone, would make lesser men roll with laughter. But the other lords were afraid I would outshine them, so they were waiting for a chance to get rid of me. And that chance came along, unfortunately.
Tell me about Brabant province. Is it far from here?
Quite far. From Bohemia, you would go to Bunburg and then follow the river Main until it joins the Rhone. Then you sail down the Rhone until it reaches the sea. And there, between the river and La Flandre, you will find Brabant, with its wealthy cities. Anvers, Bruxelles, Louvain, and many others. But those three cities are the equal of Paris, Rome, or your Prague. Both the Dukes of Burgundy and the Imperial Princes would like to annex our land to theirs, because its flourishing trade has made it rich. But like everywhere else, you can only come into wealth by birth or by enterprise, which is how I did it.
How did you end up here?
Leaving the court with a modest sum, I launched to visit faraway lands. I traveled a lot, spending time in various countries, and having many great adventures. When I learned that l'Empereur Charles, that great friend of France, had built the magnificent city of Prague in Bohème, I had to see it.
So people in foreign countries speak highly of Prague?
Bien sûr! It was abroad that I heard of King Wenceslas' silver city and its reputed vast wealth. I bought the abandoned Miskowitz estates and shares in the cotton-bearing mines. And for a time I settled here to provide for myself and wait for King Wenceslas, whom I wished to serve. But even here fate did not let me be. When Sigismund brought his army to the city, I appointed myself to lead its defense. For how better to make King Wenceslas aware of me than by saving his beloved city? Victory was assured, but the burghers had other ideas. The city was handed over to the enemy, and I with it, stripped of my possessions. I languished in captivity, until fate again stepped in by sending you to Maleshov.
Sir Vaclin, I'm surprised how well you speak our language. Where did you learn it?
Where do you think? Here, of course. Ce n'était même pas difficile. Perhaps I have already mentioned that I am guided by Providence? She endowed me with many talents, mastery of language among them. I can communicate almost everywhere in the world, and learn every new tongue in a trice. I now speak French, German, Italian, Latin, Hungarian, and Czech. Some English, though that is only a necessary evil.
Thanks for sharing your stories with me, Sir Vaclin. What do you think of our band of outcasts?
Well, I cannot say I expected to end up in this kind of company. I am more used to royal courts, or at least wealthy burghers. But a man must accept his destiny as it comes.
What do you think of Zizka?
Le Chevalier Jan? Well, he's not doing badly for a minor nobleman, but I think he will never be accepted among the higher nobles and knights. That takes a lot more. Mark my words. I am a good judge of people.
What do you think of Sir Hynek?
Ah, le diable sec. A capable chevalier, but I do not trust him. There is treachery in his eyes.
You think so?
My instinct rarely lets me down.
How do you get on with Janosch and Adder?
Oh, those two. Once in Gothenburg, I also had a servant who pretended not to understand me and thought I did not understand him when he spoke German in my presence. But he was wrong. He is no longer my servant.
How do you get on with Sir Hans?
Oh, young Lord Chapon may be inexperienced and hot-headed at times, but he's one of the few here who knows how to play chess. And I have a great respect for chess players. Needless to say, he has not managed to beat me yet. Godwin and Jiska can also play. And that devil in press clothing beat me. Merde.
Have you met Godwin?
The priest who is very skilled with a sword. Priests should not be such good swordsmen. That is what knights like me are for. In addition, he can play chess just as well as he wields a sword. And in drinking wine, he beats even the best Frenchmen. A man of talents. Or perhaps the devil is behind it.
Have you had the chance to meet my half-brother yet?
Samuel, it is strange that he joined your, our group. It is not usual for his people. But he's certainly a good reinforcement.
What do you think of Kubienka?
A good warrior. But he has no morals and no manners, like all mercenaries.
Well, I don't think he cares much about that.
And that is just the problem. How can you trust a man who does not want to be a knight?
Might as well.
I can't get Catherine out of my head. I don't understand her. I'm sure you have more experience of love than me. What do you make of her? Why is she with us?
Ah, you're right. I am a connoisseur of love like I am of wine. But for my taste, Mademoiselle Catherine is of somewhat aged vintage. Though, I have to admit she's full-bodied and fragrant.
That's not really what I meant. Why is a woman like her with us?
Là est la question. I had the feeling something terrible happened to her in the past.
So do I. But what?
I have no idea. But she is fond of you, if you ask me. Try asking her, and maybe something will come of it. L'amour.
Oh, come on.
I am a good judge of people, trust me. L'amour.
Yep, Henry's a taken man. Alright, I think the reason why I don't have a marker above, or at least in my reticle, is because I don't have it selected. There we go.
Monsignore, mi spiace, but you've got it on back to front.
Oh, shit!
Practicing
How
Italian.
the hell can anyone know how it
We'll
should
have to wait at the end of the passage till they
now
get
I'll
to
have
us.
to take off all these layers again.
Devil knows.
How are the preparations coming along?
We're done with the preparations. It's time to get to the task. The plan is simple. We split into two groups. One will go underground and wait till the other group, who'll disguise themselves as Italians, gives the sign where to dig.
Once we've tunneled in, we'll take care of the entire church council and carry off the silver from the court to Ruthard Palace.
Here, we'll load it onto the wagons and get it out of the city as quietly as we can.
Who will pose as the legate's retinue?
Godwin will pose as the cardinal, naturally. Janosch Uher will accompany him to the council as his right-hand man. You, Capon, Brabant, and Adda will play the rest of the retinue.
Why us for?
Well, you're young, you look presentable, and well, you'll be pretty convincing in that attire.
Brabant will teach you some Italian. Janosch is pretty good at it, but Adda will have to keep his mouth shut.
What should we do during the council?
First, you get rid of the guards, and then you clear the path for us. Meanwhile, Godwin and Janosch will try to buy you as much time as possible.
And you have to keep in mind that those two buffoons at the council could blow our cover at any time.
And at that point, things could get pretty hectic in there.
But how will we tunnel through to you from the court?
Well, there's bound to be minting tools lying all over the place. You could do it with a finger up your ass.
And once you get to us, we go and get Godwin. What exactly do you intend to do with the church council?
We'll just lock them up. Having them at our mercy might be useful if anything turns to shit.
As it always does.
There's bound to be quite a banquet there, so they'll be all right for a while. And once they get out, they'll have other things to worry about.
By then, we'll be over the hills and far away.
You forgot about rescuing the lords.
We didn't. But they're not our main concern.
Excuse me?
The silver is our main goal at the court. If everything goes well, we'll free the lords.
But if we make a mess of it in there, the lords will have to fend for themselves.
Rose has been insisting we rescue her father right from the start. That's the only reason she's helping us.
There's already a good chance some of our men will die in there. There doesn't need to be any more deaths unnecessary.
I promised Rosa we'd get Ruthard and the other lords out of there.
Whoa! I've been known to promise a lot less for a fuck.
There's nothing going on between me and Rosa. And even if it were, it's none of your business.
And you're twice as dumb as I thought. What the fuck were you two doing here all night? Sharpening quills?
I'll go and get ready.
Start with Brabant. Maybe you can manage Italian better than Ada.
I make sure all my at least my equipment's upkeep. Ooh. Well, not in bad condition. I guess there's a couple things I need to like put in invo and do inventory management. Yeah, I think for the most part everything's good.
So, can you teach me something in Italian?
Mon Dieu, this is not something in Italian. I'm trying to convey to you the essence of the Italian tongue in a few sentences. Do you know what kind of a task this is? Herculean, mon ami. Herculean.
All right then. I'll try not to offend your linguistic sensibilities too much.
But you have to take it seriously. These blockheads are not listening to me at all.
To dlatego, że gadasz jak przygłup.
It sounds like baby. Mama, pee pee, poo poo.
Very well. We will start with a greeting, which you will need as soon as you arrive. Repeat after me. Buonasera, signori. Good evening, gentlemen.
Buonasera, signore.
Buonasera, signori.
That will do. Eder?
Buona sera, signore.
Perfect! You meet some Italian. You make him bleed out of ears.
Next,
What is
you
Hans
have to
doing?
know how to say thank you. We will say that fairly often. Every time someone opens the door for us or offers us food or drink. Molte grazie. Thank you very much.
Molte grazie.
Molte grazie.
That will do. Eder?
Morte grazie.
If I didn't know, I think you want to eat me.
Zamknij ryj, albo odgryzę ci rękę.
If you are somewhere where you should not be and you get caught, you will need an explanation. You got lost? For example, scusi, mi sono perso. Excuse me, I'm lost.
Scusi, mi sono perso.
Scusi, mi sono perso.
That was very good.
Curva. I tried to fuck with him and he prized me instead.
What did you say, Janosch?
Nothing.
Scusi, Mi sono perso.
That was pretty close. Now let us try something more complicated. Fatta la legge, trovato l'ingano. Every law has a loophole.
Fatta la legge, trovato l'ingano.
Fatta la legge, trovato l'ingano.
Parfait.
Co to za brednie? Nie nauczę się tego gówna.
You know, that sounds like goat pissing on a drum.
Whatever you say, let us move on. O mangi la minestra, o salti dalla finestra. Either you eat the soup, or you jump out of the window.
O mangi la minestra, o salti dalla finestra.
O mangi la minestra, o salti dalla finestra. Ha!
Very nice.
To też jakieś duby smalone.
It is an expression. Loosely translated, it means play by the rules or do not play at all.
Ah, I like it more with the soup.
Jam, że jest Polak. Nie chcę udawać kogoś innego, zwłaszcza nie Woloszyna.
And one more phrase. Sei proprio un baccara. You are a real salted cod.
Sei proprio un bacala.
Sei proprio un baccalà.
Sam jesteś bakalarz, głąbie.
Excellent, Janosch. Almost perfect.
What does that actually mean?
It is another saying, a refined way of mocking someone. Well, I think we are finished. Any more? And you would get all mixed up. And if you are in a tight spot, leave it to me. D'accord?
What are we going to do now?
Mamselle Rosa will give you some clothes to change into. When you look the part, go and see Godwin.
We. Let's see if there's anything I need to just kind of put in my horse's inventory for now. Okay. May go up top. Madame?
How are you so calm? You just need to maintain a healthy dose of anger.
Oh? I take it then that you don't agree with this whole thing?
That's an understatement. The whole lot of them are out of their minds. Even before Malishov, I was already telling them to give it up. No offense.
None taken.
And now Von...
Oops.
Brabant said you had a change of clothes for me.
Everything is ready in that chest over there. I tried to patch them up and wash the worst stains out. But you can still tell the fate of their previous owner.
That's fine. I don't intend to strut around the courtyard in them.
Too bad. You might impress the guards.
And maybe I'll get shot between the ribs.
True enough. In that case, you better avoid their attention. Or hope they're worse shots than me.
I'll do my best. And thanks. Let's hope it turns out well, and this isn't our final parting.
We'll see each other soon.
Oh, wait. Henry in Italian armor. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. Godwin.
This is how you're preparing for the council, Your Eminence?
Aye. This whole business has got me shook up. I'm kitted out like a jester, and my arse is soaked in sweat. And on top of that, I have to pass myself off as an Italian. Such a stupid way to lose the legate.
I'd like to wring that Polish idiot's neck.
Well, you'll mostly be speaking Latin at the meeting, right?
Aye. But as you heard, I'm not very good at it while sober. Let's hope they have enough wine at that meeting.
How's the Italian going?
A bit better now. Brabant taught me some. But I'll need booze to help me get through the rest.
Janos Uher could help you. He's entertaining even when he's not talking.
Him? If I know him, he'll be gorging himself until we haul him off, along with the silver. Or until someone kills him.
I heard you fought in the Battle of Kosovo. Is that true?
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I'd hate to fall for one of your jokes. And I know you talk a lot when you're drunk.
True enough. And I'm drunk a lot. That's true too. But as St. Killian is my witness, it's true I was on the field of Kosovo, and I fought there. And I was quite sober.
So how did it happen? Tell me. I don't think I can quite imagine such a massive battle. How many soldiers were there?
Countless, lad. I'd never seen so many take the field. At least 10,000 men on our side. And Sultan Murad must have had at least twice as many with him.
So how did the battle go?
Lord forgive me, but it went to shit.
Could you be more specific?
Specific? Well, I only know what people said after the battle. When you're in the midst of it, you don't see what's happening around you.
Which was?
Well, it's hard to describe. Attacks are followed by retreats, and between that, only fatigue and dust.
So what happened?
When the battle began, the Serbian cavalry crushed the Turkish left flank. It looked good for us, but alas, that was just the beginning. Soon, we got ours too. We fought valiantly, but they pushed us back, and in the meantime, they hit our center. The Sultan's Janissaries attacked us there. Damn devils, and raised all hell. Rivers of blood soaked the ground.
How could you survive something like that?
You can't give up, and death isn't an option. But then a rumor spread that Prince Lazar had fallen, and everything began to crumble. But he was a tough old warrior of the Nemanjic royal blood. He wouldn't give up just like that. With an arrow in his eye, he climbed his horse and rode straight for the Sultan. That's how he saved us. The battle then lasted until evening. But no one had the strength to force the enemy to retreat.
And where did you fight?
In the saddle. I'm a nobleman, after all. But I lost 3 horses under me. So in the end, I also fought on foot. Most of us mercenaries were on the left flank, under the command of Vlatko Vukovic. But he soon got wounded, and the men began to flee. I mean, if it wasn't for Nicholas Gabriel, we wouldn't be talking here today.
And who was that?
The commander of our company. A born warrior, and a good friend. In fact, Zizka reminds me of him a bit sometimes. In any case, the fact that Gabriel had taken a command at that point meant our flank did not buckle, and the Ottoman rabble did not cut us to pieces as we fled.